All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week of the Job Seekers Resource Show. That's Job Seekers Resource Show. I'm your host, Matt 𝗟𝗡𝗀𝗃, and I had my hair looking pretty good earlier. Not sure what happened, but I've been in meetings up until now, so bear with the hair. Again, yet another week. So this week, I'm going to go pretty fairly quick. I want to talk about the ever so frightening, as usually most of my clients will tell me, the tell me about yourself interview question. I get asked a bunch of times during interview sessions with my clients, interview prep sessions, how do you answer some of these questions that relate more about not so much the work you've been doing, but more of your personality. And obviously there's different types of interviewing questions, the scenarios and behaviorals, and it could get out of hand, but know that a couple of these, what's your strengths, weaknesses? Why'd you leave where? Because there's always these vetting questions, and a lot of them favor some of these more popular ones like, tell me about yourself. So let's first off and say, be prepared for it. Don't have a curveball thinking it's going to be like, don't let it be a curveball thinking, oh, wow, they did ask this question and I'm yet still not prepared. This is one of those questions where you really want to know kind of what you're going to say up front, and not something that's going to sound robotic, as we'll all tell you as experts in interview training, that obviously if you can memorize a question, great, just don't sound robotic. But it happens. People sometimes freeze on the spot. They're just unsure about how to answer that question at that particular time during that particular interview for numerous variables. So deep down inside, you got to have some sort of answer, kind of bones, if you will, structure to get it where you're not talking about your dogs, but rather you're talking about your passions. And think about when you're responding with all the hiring managers to that question of how you can relate your narrative or your answer towards that opening, that role. Hiring managers are feeling pain, right? We call them pain points whenever we do these kind of things. We call them, the reason why this is open. And you should care about healing that pain, providing that solution to that hiring manager that wants you to be the right fit, and not only telling them about it, but then showing them with narratives that directly relate to when you were doing that type of work and how you were resolving those types of pains back at whatever job it was. Explain your successes or your projects in a format that will let them know just how you can provide some Tylenol relief. I wrote that one down. So again, when they ask me, tell me about yourself, this is a good chance to kind of sprinkle in some more career achievements and goals. And then take the opportunity to explain about maybe a recent layoff or why you're involved in on the bench right now. You can even explain it in your own terms instead of letting the interview formulate questions about it. Avoiding or hiding the issue only makes the interviewer think that you did not take the layoff well, or that you have more to hide, right? So be honest, be open. Now you can also, when you answer this question about telling yourself, you can also form it into the what are your strengths type idea of mentality when you approach the answer. So make sure you kind of have an alternate question for that question, right? You don't want to be repetitive during the interview though. So remember that. Different anecdotes for different questions. Don't have the same answer of what your strengths are as tell me about yourself. I'm going to give you some examples. These are real examples, real world examples that maybe will leave a nugget or two for you to think about. And I'm going to read them off of my page here of what clients, either of mine or colleagues of mine that have told me about the stories. And these are some of that resonated about how they answered the tell me about yourself question. So the first client mentioned the word leveled as part of the answer. The client provided a solid approach to the question by speaking about her strengths. She also mentioned relatability when speaking about the spectrum of people she can talk to. When it happens to be kind of more of a broad-based answer, I'm glad she didn't go into her favorite hobby, which was boating, but rather went the strength route. Again, sometimes the boating thing might work, or the dogs or whatever. If you assess the interviewer's room back when we were actually doing in-person interviews, you can kind of make a correlation or make a relation that says, oh, that person boats. I actually know that kind of boat. I'm a boater. Then you're talking about kind of having those few stray chances of doing that. Talking about something that's personal or a hobby. But most of the time, professional, again, this is a chance to toot your own horn yet again during that answer. Client 2, personally, he had a family and loved spending time with them. So he's looking for a job that gives him the opportunity to spend meaningful time on the weekends. But he didn't mention that in the interview, obviously, in case he has to work weekends. He didn't say that. He just mentioned, though, that he loves spending time with his family and enjoys that time. He also loves challenges and wants to transition back into a benefits role because he loves benefits and feels like he didn't have a lot of employee interaction. Maybe this known as part, maybe this is what you have to make known during that answer. So then the client mentioned that he loves the targeted company's advocacy for the employee's work-life balance as a whole. It shows that you've done some of your due diligence during your research. If you can figure out if that company values that work-life balance and you know no one's working weekends there, you can kind of massage some of the answer that relates to that culture. Client 3 mentioned her passion and drive in all aspects of her life, personally and professionally, and enjoys making a difference in other people's lives. Good, but dive into some more specifics, right? Then she said she could go the extra mile for the company and employees, and it makes her feel good and accomplished. That's nicely done. If you could tie that to an actual achievement or a win from your past that show that demonstrated ability to change people's lives, now we're talking factual stuff mixed with your little bit of personality for the answer. Then she also went into something personal. She tried to spin it into something professional after the personal stuff while simultaneously using some nice soft skills to explain her answer. Team-oriented, dependable, results-driven. That's fine. I don't mind soft skills during an interview. Limit them because obviously the employer still wants to make sure you can do the job. But it's okay if you want to massage in a few of your soft skills, especially right now. One of the biggest soft skills is being adaptive. Adaptability. So, being able to be flexible with the environment as we kind of grab hold of a new working environment or new hiring experienced. Things are changing right now, especially because of the onset with the pandemic. So it's okay if you're like, hey man, I'm just as confused too. I mean, don't tell them that, but it's okay if you say that to yourself. You're not sure where your hiring is going to be. If you're an HR manager looking for an HR manager role, and you're just quite frankly not sure how things are going to iron out here after the next year or whatever, it's okay if you just want to at least bring what your idea and your assumptions might be based off of the research you've done and what you think is going to be the hiring cycle after all this is done. But again, remaining adaptive is key right now and flexible, because if employers aren't sure what's going to happen next, they want their employees to be ready for those changes. And some are going to be overnight. Remember though, try to always think of different answers as much as you can, because this client particularly went into the family as part of her answer, but she kept bringing it back. Great theme, but limit it. Remember, redundancy will kill interviews. If you keep beating up one project that you love, that you had success at over and over and over again, they're going to get bored with it because they're going to go, yeah, we get it. You did that one project that you're proud of. What else have you done? Client 4 said he loves golf, beer responsibly, video games, and being a stay-at-home dad. Not a bad answer. And while I liked how he went into something personal, let's try to spin. It's not the best answer either, but it's not going to kill the interview in its tracks. It's honest. But let's try to spin it into something professional, right? Again, I would say, a lot of people, yeah, we enjoy beer, but most likely are not going to display this affection to business colleagues. So keep that in mind too. That went a little bit off the rails, but again, at least he was being honest. It's just, you got to make sure that you're not opening up too much. One of the biggest killers in interviews is if you get too cozy too quick. And then finally, the client 5 said she was intelligent, dependable, determined to improve livelihoods, hardworking, and a people support person. And she communicated well and motivates people to get going in life for success while developing a positive outlook in life. Great answers if you keep going back to the individuals you're helping, right? So great answer if you're going back to the pains you're resolving. the teammates you'll be assisting or managing. If you can kind of keep bringing it back to that targeted role you're going to be living in, all those answers will come out way better than just generalized talking, generalized answers. So think of tell me about yourself answer and how you can spin it so it resonates more with the hiring manager based off of what opening is and where it's at and kind of what they do and what culture and all that kind of stuff. There should not be a catch-all for all of them. Again, though, you should have something memorized, but able to, again, adapt to whatever the scenario is for that particular interview, to either tweak some things here and there throughout that answer, or maybe you just need to do an overhaul and have a second answer because of the particular situation you're interviewing in. So keep that in mind. Ping me if you need help with that or with anything, resume, career coaching, interview training. And I thank you again for making it back to another week of the Jobsticker's Job Seeker Resource Show. I will see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. LinkedIn Live. And we're going to have a special guest talking about continuous improvement, as well as how to track your accomplishments in the workspace while you're working. So when you do have to get a new resume together, it comes across way easier than trying to think about what you've been doing the last 5 years. Be well, everybody.